Hey there, my name is Shane Craddock, and this is the Inner Edge podcast, where I share a different take on how to lead and live a sustainable, high-performance life. Over the course of different episodes, I'm going to challenge the belief that tension, stress, and struggle are essential to success and creativity. My experience is that there's an easier way, there's a better way, and indeed there's an essential way that we need to explore for the times that we live in. So let's go ahead, let's jump in and explore. Hello there, welcome to The Inner Edge with me, Shane Craddock. I hope wherever you are that you're in good health and good form and optimistic about the year ahead, because this particular episode is coming out around about the 8th of January 2024. But again, like all of these episodes, hopefully that I'm recording for you, they are, in my mind anyway, timeless. But because it is that time of the year, today's topic is a question, which is, what will you change inside this year? I don't, of course, mean inside in your house or in your business or in your car, although sometimes those things are important. But no, I'm talking about inside in you. And the conversation we're going to share today, if that's the right expression, has been sparked by conversations with a couple of journalists I did over the last couple of weeks, interviews that came out recently, where they were asking me about this time of the year for people in terms of making change. And this time of the year in January in particular is usually a time when a lot of people think about change. Now, that's for different reasons, but here's the key point I want to make in today's episode. If you want to change something outside, you have to change something inside first, if you want to make meaningful change. So if you want to change outside, you got to look inside. Now, I remember this is a common thing for me with clients where, I meet them and they want to have more clarity, or they want to improve their energy, their mood, they want to build momentum, they want to maybe expand their horizons to think of a bigger, better, brighter future. And usually what's blocking them, though, is a thought. And specifically, a thought that's coming from some sort of a belief. As it happens, I was only talking to somebody very recently, trying to help them out. It was through a client that asked me to speak to somebody who was just maybe in a very, for them, difficult position where they feel that they're stuck, they're overthinking, they're not enjoying their work or their life or their business. And as we started getting into the conversation, for me, I'm just looking at what's the thought that's blocking them, what's the belief that's blocking them, where is their mind blocking them? And the first thing, if you're anyway listening to these podcasts with me regularly, you'll know that, I'll say you have a mind, you're not your mind. And overthinking is the enemy, without a doubt. It causes inner fog. And for this particular person, the thing that was blocking them was, am I good enough? And for me, that is a fundamental, massive, massive block to high performance or getting real enjoyment and getting the best out of yourself. So once you understand that that's there, then the choice emerges actually to, instead of trying to fix it, just becoming aware that it's there and then ignoring it. As simple as it sounds, that actually is massive. Another story that comes to mind is a client, and I would have shared this particular story before. Certainly I shared in my book, The Inner CEO, about a client who was coming on a retreat of mine called the Thrive Experience, run it once a year. And they had booked on a couple of months in advance, looking forward to it. But then I think 2 or 3 days before we started, I got a phone call and they said, listen, Shane, I'm sorry, I can't go. And I said, why? They said, look, I've been trying to solve these problems for the last 6 months and they're just not solved. And I just feel I can't commit the time to going on this retreat. I need to stay here working, trying to solve these problems. And I said, look, that's fine. It's your call. But here's my suggestion. Come to the first day, come to the first evening for dinner. And when dinner's over, leave and be on your merry way. And the retreat, of course, lasts for about 3 days. It's 2 nights, 3 days together with like-minded leaders. It's a lot of fun, a lot of learning. On the first day, we were talking about stuff to do with the mind and fear in particular. And we were talking then over dinner, sharing stories, war stories, bouncing ideas off each other. And at the end of the dinner, he came to me and I was expecting him to say goodbye, but actually something had changed inside him. And he said, actually, I've decided I'm going to stay. And when I asked him why, what he said was, this is where I should be. I'm feeling more relaxed. I just feel my mood is improving being here around this kind of optimistic energy, this upbeat energy. And something changed inside him. It was the same circumstances. The problems had not been solved, but he was different inside. And because he was different inside, that changes everything. Now, what was interesting was he obviously enjoyed the experience, but then 2 days later, I got a phone call from the same person. And they said, listen, I just want to share something with you. I had a great time on that retreat. I said, oh, yeah, great, no problem. I said, but that's not it. I just want you to know, I woke up this morning very early and I had solutions to the two big problems in my mind. And I've solved them already at talking to you on this phone call. They're gone. Now, that to me points to something hugely valuable inside us. Not just the fact that when we change something inside, but also it's about taking our attention away from the problems that are bothering us. If you can find a way to break that pattern inside yourself, what happens then is the deeper part of your mind, the area that is in the area that I call the inner CEO, which is really about the realm of your intuition, higher awareness, it actually allows that part to kick in and provide these solutions, these ways forward that perhaps we didn't see. Now, sometimes people will think, well, maybe I need to read more or learn more. And that might be true in certain contexts, but I'm actually really talking about shifting something inside you where you can kind of get, like that client, you kind of get this almost eureka moment or an insight that allows you to see something different, see something new. And that allows you to move to a new level. It might even change how you listen, how you behave. There's a program that I run called MindShift. It's usually once a year. And there was a client that came on that a couple of years ago, somebody that I know very well now. But when he turned up first for the first workshop, I'm laughing because I'm thinking about the way that he was. He was extremely negative. One of the most negative participants I've ever had start a program. And certainly for the first two workshops, very negative. You just see his body language was wrong. His face was just sour. And then we did an exercise where I was showing colored filters that we use in drama, the lights around for theater. You put a filter over a light, a white light, and it change color. And I was just using that as a metaphor, an example for how your thinking creates a filter on the world. But if you don't know the filter is there, you think that color is real, which means that you think the filter in the human context is real. And for whatever reason, for him, I saw a change in his face. He became brighter, he became more relaxed. But what was interesting was, for me, I'm always looking for those changes in my clients or in participants because it shows me that they're getting an insight or eureka moment or a penny drop. But the interesting about this one was that it was so dramatic that everybody in the group saw the change. Everybody saw it and commented on it. And they still talk about it. And he had, again, what I would call that kind of mind shift. And just as an aside, if you are interested, we're doing one program on mind shift this year. I'll put the link in the show notes. It's an 8-week virtual program. You can participate from anywhere. And it is a kind of a game changer, a foundational program that I run. High return. Anyway, know more about it. It's in the show notes if you're interested. So what I'm going to say to you today is, well, how do you change inside? And I think, first of all, you have to be open to the idea that actually, as I was saying, I was talking to somebody just quite recently about making change. And they kept on talking about the outside world. And if I could change my role in terms of this situation or change my clients, that's looking in the wrong direction. You fall into the trap. So once you're open to the idea of changing inside and that, okay, there is something I can change, which is my thinking. Then second thing I'd say is think about an area where you'd most like to change. That could be money. It could be relationships. It could be your health. It could be your time. It could be your purpose. And just consider and ask yourself, what am I thinking about those areas? So just don't play the game of, the outer world needs to change. Play the game of maybe it's my inner world needs to change. And look at what potentially is the filter that you have on that situation or that area. Could even be people. And then another question to ask yourself is, maybe to go broader again, is like, what is the highest vision for your life? What is the highest vision for your life? What would the next version of you look like? What does the next version of your life and your work look like? And spend time thinking about that. And then work backwards and think, well, what would have to be true for that vision to happen, for that vision to take place? And right at the middle of that, I'm going to maybe point in the direction of considering you in terms of how you're being. Not so much what you're doing or what you're having, but how you're being. What do you like in that future vision? How are you thinking differently? How are you different with your work, with your clients? Are you behaving in a certain way? And then I want you to think about your own personal standards this year, about in terms of bringing more of that next version of you into reality. into your next iteration of yourself, think about your personal standards around your own levels of commitment on what you do, how you show up every day, areas where you know you can improve or you can be more consistent. Where can you make changes inside? How you're thinking about those areas that allows you to make changes outside. And again, just as a little reminder, and it's such a simple thing, but it's incredibly powerful. If you want to change something outside in your outer world, look first to change something inside. That's it for this week. Ciao.